What's going on, guys? It's Xavier with X-Ray Cigars, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Le Flambeau No. 3. And there's a lot to talk about with this cigar, and I'm excited to get into it. So let me first start off. This is an LA Cigar Collective exclusive, and the boys at LA Cigar Collective have been working on a bunch of different blends, and this is their third blend, hence the No. 3. So shout out to my boys, Kyle and Rob. They're great people. I've interacted with them multiple times on their Discord, and they're doing great things over at LA Cigar Collective. So can't say too much on this platform other than go ahead and look them up, check them out, and let me know what you think. Other than that, let's talk about this cigar. Let's talk about this blend because there are some exciting things about this blend. So first, this comes out of the Kelner factory, and Kelner, I'm excited about that because Kelner has made a few blends that I enjoy for brands like Avowed and even the Kelner 80th. I enjoyed some of those cigars actually landed on my top 10 cigars that I've smoked so far for 2026. And with this blend, this is a Mexican San Andreas wrapper, Ecuadorian Habano binder, and Dominican fillers. And so just looking on LA Cigar Collective's website just to get a little more insight on this cigar. One cool thing about this cigar is talking about the blend again. One of the things that they kind of tasked Klaas Kelner at the Kelner factory is to come up with a blend that brings a lot more power to his blends. He's used to blending more mild to medium, really nuanced cigars, and he really, what the guys at LACC wanted to do was just challenge Klaas Kelner to build something a little bit different out of their profile, something more full body. Hence why the blend has, let me see here, 60% of the fillers are ligero. So if you know what ligero is, those are some pretty bold and pretty strong leaves. So very interested to get into that and see what that all means with this cigar. But what's cool about the story about the Le Flambeau is LA Cigar Collective is in New Orleans, and so they really like to play on, you know, the New Orleans history and the vibe. And so Mardi Gras is a big tradition in New Orleans, and Le Flambeau is, Flambeau means like to light, torch, light bringer, and it's something that they do prominently during Mardi Gras. So I think it's cool that you're bringing the story of where you're at, where you're located, and bringing that culture to the blends that you're making. So one more shout out to Barely Lit Daniel, my buddy, my pal. He actually gave me the cigar. He had it and he was like, dude, this is a really good cigar. You gotta try it. You gotta review it, and let everyone know what you think. So with all that said, I'm gonna go ahead and get this cut up, lit up, and I'll give you my initial thoughts. That is a very smooth retro on this Le Flambeau No. 3. So I'm just here at light up on this cigar, and right now on the draw, just getting a bit of earthiness, some mustiness on there, and some oak, very light oak on the draw. On the retro, super smooth oak, light cocoa, no spice, no pepper, which surprised me. So I'm interested to see how this ligero kind of kicks in as I go through the rest of the cigar. And then on the finish, just a bit of more of that oak, some nuttiness, and a bit of earth. So very smooth, very light actually at the beginning for me. So very excited to see what this first third brings. So once I get down through the first third, I'll come back with more notes. All right, so I'm getting down to the end of the first third of this Le Flambeau No. 3 and LA Cigar Collective exclusive. And I didn't mention it in the first initial clip, but this is, and I'll probably just like put it in, like type it in on the clip, but this is a 6.5 by 55 cigar, and so it's a little bit of a girthy boy and a pretty lengthy as well. But look at that construction, man. That's that Kelner construction right there. But let's go ahead and get into the flavor notes now. So on the draw, getting some more of that oak, and it's like a smooth oak. And right now, kind of towards the end of the first third, I'm getting a little bit of an oak spice, but nothing crazy. It's just nice and lingering in the background with some mustiness. And then on the retro, I'm getting this smooth oak, with light leather and then a little bit of a buttery tone. And that's kind of been, again, at the end of this first third, I've been getting more of that buttery tone. Now the finish is really good on this cigar. I'm getting a bready note, some saltiness, almost like a salty bread note, some leather. There's a sweetness that was initially starting up kind of like in the first inch, and then now it's kind of turning into like a chocolatey note. So that chocolatey, salty bread note is pretty good. I will say, like, the first half inch, there wasn't too much going on, kind of like the same thing that was getting on light up, but it is starting now to pick up. So I think this cigar is now starting to take full form and starting to get some life into it. So I'm excited to get through the second third. Once I get through the second third, I'll come back with more notes. All right, so I'm getting down through the end of this second third of this Les Flambeaux number 3 LA Cigar Collective exclusive. And look at that construction. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you should be able to see it here, but I've only ashed it once and I'm about to ash it again, and I might only need to ash it one more time here. And that Kelner construction is great. So what am I getting on this cigar in the second third? On the draw, there's this smooth oak with a bit of pepper, but the pepper is not too crazy, but it has ratcheted up a little bit. It's a nice touch and another nice switch up on this second third with a little bit of earth. And then on the retro, I'm getting this baking spice that has ratcheted up a little bit, but nothing crazy. Some leather and a mustiness on the retro that's come up a little bit, but it's enjoyable. And then on the finish, this is really where like this cigar is picking up. In the second third and on the finish, I'm getting this oak note with some bready, like a salty bread. I'm still getting that throughout. A light sweet chocolate, and then with some nuttiness with that sweet chocolate, and it's reminding me of like a hazelnut, which is a great combination. And then, no joke, for like 5 minutes on this second third, I got a brownie note out of it, which was super enjoyable, and it's really been picking up on this second third. So ever since like that first half inch where I wasn't getting too much, it's really picked up in this the second half of the first third, and really this whole second third. One thing I noticed is like when you hold the draw in your mouth for just a little bit and then blow it out, there's more of a you get more of that finish, and that's where it's really coming out. So it was an enjoyable second third. It really picked up, and so I'm excited to get down through this last third. So I'm gonna go ahead and smoke down through the last third, and then I'll give you my final thoughts. All right, so I'm getting down to the end of this last third of this Les Flambeaux number 3. And right now on the draw, I'm getting this oakiness with some spice, and the spice has come up a little bit more, and it lingers a little bit with some more leather. The leather has come up a little bit as well. And then on the retro, I'm getting this baking spice with some more of that leather. And again, that leather has kicked up a little bit. Still getting some mustiness, and then lingering on the palate also on the retro. I'm still getting like a dry cocoa. And it does dry out the palate just a little bit, but it just in this last third is when I really started to notice it. And then on the finish, still got that lingering spice, a little bit of that salty bread, some more of that oak. And it's a tad charred, not much, but just a little bit, some coffee. And then there's a little bit of a bitter walnut, that nuttiness that I was getting earlier. It's now more of a bitter walnut, but not too bad. So overall, like with this last third, it did take a small dip because more of the oakiness, more of the spice, the leather came up, and some more of that sweetness has died down. But I will say with this cigar, I mean, it's a 6.5 length cigar. About 6 inches of it, like a regular sized Toro, was really enjoyable. I think just overall what Klaas Kelner did, if you know some of his blends, they tend to be a little more mild to medium with more nuances. And from what I know, I think this is one of his first blends to really venture off on more of a bolder Maduro style with that Mexican San Andreas. But I think the blending style with Klaas, what he did with this blend is really nice. This is a really good blend that can cater to some folks that really appreciate more of the bold notes while still having some more of that Klaas Kelner touch to it that you get on a lot of his cigars. And I think really with a little bit of time, even this last third will even get a little more enjoyable, just like the rest of the cigar. I think when I was smoking it, it was just enjoyable throughout. So great work, Klaas, Kelner, at the Kelner factory. Great work, LA Cigar Collective, on this cigar. Really go ahead and check them out the way you would search something on a platform, because I can't say here on YouTube, because I think it's a good one. So I'm gonna put more of a breakdown on this cigar with flavor, burn, construction, performance, and the overall value of the cigar on my Instagram. So if you're not following along, it's x.rated.cigars, where I'll put more of that breakdown. But comment down below if you've had this cigar. Let me know what your experience was like, and like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll be putting out more videos just throughout this journey, and I'll see you in the next one.